Angel, you said look at yourself now. But it don't set finish. See transformation. Welcome to Life Stories with Bussy, where we share real, raw, and unfiltered life stories that make you pause, reflect, laugh, and sometimes cry. Today's story. Today's story is about betrayal, guilt, secrets, and a friendship that spiraled into a storm that no one saw coming. The storyteller's name is Angel, and the story that she shares today would have you questioning love, loyalty, and just how far silence can be stretched before it snaps. So get popcorn, grab a drink, take a deep breath, because you see this story, it is wild. She goes, "Hello, Auntie Bussy. YouTube threw one of your videos my way. And the moment I watched, I knew you are exactly the person I needed to hear this. I trust your voice. I trust how you see people." Thanks for your vote of confidence. So just call me Angel. Let me say this up front. I don't believe in love. Not the way people make it sound like magic. To me, it always felt like a transaction, something people use to get something else. As for marriage, I don't care for it. If I want kids, I'll have them. But walking down the aisle, promising forever, I don't think it's worth it. I know people will judge me for saying that. Maybe they'll even judge me more for what I'm about to share. But I'm not a terrible person. I have a very good heart. I grew up in Port Harcourt. Back then, there was this guy, IB. We're never in love, never dating, just friends with benefits. Friends who hooked up occasionally. It was casual, physical, no string, no expectations, no money exchange. It just was what it was. Eventually, I left Port Harcourt and got into a private university in the southwest. I won't mention the name of the school. That was where I met Jay. Let's just say that season of my life was soft. At that time in my life, I was involved with older guys, the kind of men that came with perks, regular money, soft life. Big guys. I like the comfort, the lifestyle, the money. People might call it hookup culture. I wouldn't. So that's where I met Jay. Jay was my roommate. 3 years younger, sweet, quiet, a proper daddy's girl, pampered, loved, naive. Despite our differences, we bonded. She found my lifestyle wild, but she never judged me. Sometimes she would say, "Angel, love yourself enough to stop this kind of life." I would laugh because what did she know? She was innocent, loved, protected. Her idea of life was soft. Mine wasn't. She had a warm home. I didn't. She had choices. I didn't. She became like a little sister to me, respected me, trusted me, loved me, and I protected her. After graduation, I relocated to the UK. Life happened, but we stayed in touch. Then 2023 happened. Jay sent me a wedding invite. Excited, full of joy. And when I opened it, I froze. She was marrying IB. Yes, that IB, my old friend with benefits from PH. We hadn't spoken in years, but I knew his ways. He hadn't changed. I'd heard stories through mutual friends, stories of cheating, lies, women, but I said nothing. Still, I wanted to believe maybe he had changed. People grow. Maybe this was real. I spoke to Jay. casually mentioned that I knew a man from way back. She paused and went like, Angel, I hope. I cut her off with a laugh. It's just a childhood friend from PH. Nothing serious. She even video called me when Hybe was with her. I think she was trying to test us, study our reactions, but we kept it light. Nothing gave us away. Honestly, I felt nothing for him. It was all in the past. Their traditional wedding was held in Nigeria. It went beautifully, smooth, no drama, and I allowed myself to believe that maybe he had grown, maybe this was real. Next came the civil wedding and the destination white wedding, both abroad. Big, beautiful, extravagant. Jay's family didn't hold back. At the civil wedding, I overheard two of Jay's bridesmaids whispering, IB isn't in love with her. He's playing a long game. Yes, true. He wants a seat on her dad's company's board. She's moving back to Nigeria because of him. Her dad is already trusting him with business decisions. Business move, I must say, not love. Plus, he's still sleeping around. He's been with at least 3 of our mutual friends. My stomach sank. I confronted IB quietly. He laughed it off. People will say anything. I've changed. I love Jay. I didn't believe him, but I said nothing. Then came the Bachelor's Eve's party. This was a day before the white wedding. Some of us ladies were invited to join the guys. It was laid back. Drinks, music, laughter. Jay's mom called her home early so that she could have a fresh start and early start the next day. As she was leaving, she turned to me and said, Sis, please stay back a bit. Make sure IB doesn't drink too much. Help him get to the hotel safely. I agreed. And that was my biggest mistake. I shouldn't have. I genuinely don't know how it happened. 1 minute we're gisting. The next, we were in one of his friend's hotel rooms and we did it. I don't have an excuse. I want to blame the drinks, the old comfort, but I can't. I knew what I was doing. I hate that he did. I hate that I let it happen. Afterwards, I told him that it was wrong. I told him that I felt sick with guilt. I told him we could never speak of it again. He agreed. Then he looked at me, smirking, and said, Angel, you said look at yourself now. But it don't set finish. See transformation. I shut him down, told him that it wasn't funny. It wasn't a joke. This was betrayal. I walked back to the hotel with a storm inside me. I couldn't sleep. At the wedding the next day, I plastered on a smile. Jay was glowing, so in love. She had no idea what we had done. I watched her walk down the aisle. I watched her look into Hybe's eyes with pure love as she said, I do. I heard the vows. I heard him lie to her in front of God and everyone. I stood there, a hypocrite in a fancy dress. I was wearing guilt like makeup, smiling through the shame, pretending, performing. At the reception, I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I could barely talk. I smiled for the pictures, toasted with the others, but I was dying inside. All I wanted was for the night to end, to disappear, to create distance between myself and the chaos I'd helped to create. Only IB, 2 of his friends, and I knew what happened, but even that was too much. Last year, they had a baby. I sent my love, but I cut ties. I needed space. Fast forward to a house party in London, and guess who I saw? IB with another woman. We greeted each other politely. I stayed away from him. But later that night, I saw him in the corner making out with the same woman. No shame. I snapped. I slapped him at the back. He was furious. He was like, what's wrong with you? Jealous, Abi? I left the party. The next day, he called me sounding very calm and dangerous. He said, don't even think about telling Jay anything. I have video evidence of that night with you. My friends can also testify. And guess what? Jay already knows about your past, your men, your lifestyle. She won't believe you. It's your words against mine. He tried to blackmail me, threatening me into silence. But that's not even the worst part. Later, I spoke to a childhood friend from PH. She told me everything I needed to know about IB. IB had fathered 2 children while dating Jay. Now, the woman I saw at the party with him, she had just had his baby too. Hey, he's still cheating, still deceiving. And Jay, she's still posting on social media, my king, my husband, my one and only, my personal person. They wear matching outfits, church selfies, and birthday tribute to the love of her life. I be write those long romantic captions that make women cry online. It makes me sick because I know what's really happening. And now I don't know what to do. I'm torn. I cry for Jay, this sweet soul who trusted me, who called me sister. I want to tell her, but how do I do that without burning everything down? If I tell her, it could destroy her. She might not believe me. I'm part of the web. But if I stay quiet, am I not betraying her even more? Do I tell her and risk everything? Or do I stay silent and let her find out on her own, possibly too late? Please, Auntie Bussy, what would you do? Thanks for writing in, Angel. I appreciate that you wrote in, and I see that you're broken, you don't even know what to do. The truth in this matter is that there's no easy answer. This isn't black and white. Some people will say that you should tell her, because she deserves to know. And she deserves to be able to choose the life that she wants to live, whether she wants to live with this man or not. And that you owe it to her to tell her. Some people will say something like that. And truthfully, they are not wrong. They are right. Some other people will say, don't bother to tell her. Don't tell her anything. Because you're already part of that web. And she will not believe you. And they will say, let her find out herself in her own time. And sincerely, this school of thought too, they are not wrong. And I kind of tilt towards these people that say, don't tell her anything, or maybe give it time or something. Because imagine that you meet her and you go and tell her this story. Remember that she had asked you when you said that you knew IB. She had said something about Angel. She wanted to say something about knowing that you have that kind of lifestyle. She wanted to know whether you had had something to do with IB, and you said no. At that point, you did not say anything. You did not confess to her. You did not say, I know this guy, we don't have any mushy feelings, but we have been friends with benefit. You did not say that. So imagine that you now walk up to her and you now tell her that, Jay, I have something to tell you. And the night before your wedding, me and your husband, we made out, and I feel bad. That's why I'm telling you. I also want to tell you that he has baby mamas, and I also. Do you see that? It's not going to work. In fact, she's not going to listen to you, because you had the opportunity to tell her from the beginning how you knew the guy, but you did not. You didn't come out to say anything. And then at that party, she trusted you so much, and she entrusted her husband into your care, and you had just one job. The one job was to make sure that the guy was fine, was whole for the next day. So she said, make sure that he doesn't drink too much, and please make sure that he goes home early. And then after she entrusted her husband into your hands to take care of this her husband, that job, one job that you had, you failed woefully. So how do you want to come and meet her and begin to tell her, okay, so let me backtrack. The truth is, I used to know your husband, but it was my friend with benefit. Okay, so a day before. How do you think that will sound? For someone like Jay, she's in love with this guy. She does not see all these things that you are seeing. And like you said, she just had a baby. And for somebody who just had a baby, you understand? She's getting her act together, trying to take care of her baby, trying to take care of her new family. And you want to go and tell her all this? A blow like this would, shatter her emotionally and mentally. Especially coming from the one person she calls sister, somebody that she trusted so much with her husband. No, I don't think that it is in your place to go and tell her the story about her husband. And then, another thing is that IB is a manipulator, so he's going to spin this. We don't know whether he has a video or not, but he has friends who can testify that that night happened. So if you go out and you tell her, IB will spin the story about how you seduced him, about how he knew you, he knew you and he seduced him. And I tell you, Jay will support her husband because that guy cannot do wrong in her eye for now. That guy is alive for now. The way you have explained, or the way you have told us how she takes her marriage, her husband and all that. So you can't tell her, you cannot, because IB is a manipulator. And IB will spin the story such that you'll be the one that will look very bad. So, bust that. What you can do, however, is to drop breadcrumbs. When I say drop breadcrumbs, you're not going to come out and tell her, but you're going to drop things. I don't know how you're going to do it. Let the people around her pick it up and take it to her, and let her decide to investigate whether her husband is who her husband is, if she wants to. You just have to stay away. All you need to do now is stay away. So, like I said, if you tell her, you're not wrong. If you don't tell her, you're not wrong either. That's what I think. Whatever choice that you make, let it come from a place of love, not guilt, not fear, not pride, just love. If you tell her, let it be to free her and not to relieve yourself, because it's burning in your heart and you're looking for a way to pour it out, and so you want to tell her so that your mind will be free, and you know already that it might not end well. Of course, she'll cut ties with you and all that, so it looks as if you're prepared for that already. And for you, relieving is very important for you so that you don't have to carry this whole betrayal thing. But be careful, because the moment you tell her and you pour it on her, you don't want to know how things can go from 0 to 100 immediately. You don't want to know. You don't want to know how she would take it. She might not take it well. It could affect her mentally. It would affect her emotionally, definitely. And this is somebody who just had a baby. This is somebody who loves her husband so dearly. So please, you're not going to tell her just to relieve yourself. If you want to tell her, you're going to tell her because you want her to be free, not because you want to relieve your own guilt. That's it. Back to you, Angel. When you began your story, like, you don't believe in love, you don't believe in marriage, but the next thing, you have a friend with benefits, you don't have any feelings for that person. It's just physical. And I'm wondering, when did you stop believing that you were worth being loved? People don't just stop believing in love. It's something that they have learned over time. It could be from heartbreaks, it could be from betrayal, it could be from having to protect yourself in a world that takes from us before it gives. And I'm not judging your choices. You have survived the way you knew, But survival is not the same thing as healing. I hope you know that you have survived so far does not mean that you are healed from whatever it is that has made you anti-love. I'm concerned about the way that you talk about love, Angel. You talk about love as if love is a scam, as if it's a weakness, as if it's for people who don't know the game. And that's not strength, that's fear. That's fear. And it's fear that is wearing makeup and heels, you know, fear that is dressed up as freedom in a fancy dress. You don't have to sleep with men who don't see your soul just to prove that you're in control. You don't have to pretend that marriage is useless just because you have not seen it done right. You don't. You don't have to shrink your heart down to something transactional just to avoid being hurt. Love isn't the enemy, Angel. Love isn't the enemy. The lie is the enemy. The lie that you have told yourself, the lies that says that you are powerful if you feel nothing. That is the enemy. You have told yourself a lie for too long. And if you're true to yourself and you take a look at your life and the story that you have told us today, if you look at everything together and you want to be sincere with yourself, you realize that what has brought you here, what has brought you into this triangle is because of the life that you chose to live. The life where you want to lie to yourself that love doesn't matter. The life where you want to tell yourself a lie that you have to be in control. No. So you might have to take a look at yourself again and begin to reassess what you call life. The truth is you deserve love. You deserve love that is real, that is honest, and you have to believe that first, that you need to be loved. You have to start from there. You have to break down everything that you have known, all the defense that you've built around yourself. You have to break it down first and start to rebuild. If not, you'll keep coming back to this point. Okay? Guys, what do you think about this story? What do you think she should do? Do you think that she should go ahead and tell Jay? Or do you think that she should not bother about telling Jay? I think that she shouldn't bother about telling Jay. She should create a distance. She should take time out to heal. She should take time out to know herself, to reassess the values that she holds there. You know, I think that she should go back to the drawing board and begin to take a look at her life all over again. You get it? First break down her defenses and begin to build the new person, because if not, I feel like she'll keep on coming back here. That's my thought. I feel that she doesn't need to tell Jay. She just leave Jay. So that's my own take. What do you guys think? This is Life Stories with Bussy, and my name is David Sola Jelly David. See you in the next story. Bye.